When we hear about a PFA, it's usually because something tragic has happened. Most recently with the murder of Pitt student Alina Shayhet. And we hear people say the same thing. What good did it do?
Of course, when PFAs save lives, we tend not to hear about it. Long before Shayhet's death, KDKA legal editor Julie Grant began looking into how our current domestic violence laws are working, but what we could do to make them even better.
Judge David Spurgeon has spent years helping domestic violence victims, first as a prosecutor and now as a judge.
We hear about the examples when they don't work, but every day there's so many people that are actually saved.
Family Division created a special docket for Judge Spurgeon to hear PFA cases because of his past experience advocating for victims. Judge Spurgeon will be the first to admit PFAs aren't foolproof.
Does everyone listen to every law or every court order? No, unfortunately they don't. But the vast majority of people that obtain protection from abuse orders do become safer as a result of it.
PFAs give police more power to protect victims.
If you have a protection from abuse order and someone calls you or violates it, the police have a mandatory arrest policy where they have to make that arrest. They don't have to think about it. They don't have to determine whether or not they have physical injuries. It can be as simple as someone making a telephone call that could be a violation depending on what it is.
Detective Tamara Hawthorne, who specializes in domestic violence cases, says what's key is understanding it's not about anger management.
It is about power, domination, and control.
And usually the most dangerous time for a victim is when they leave.
When the offender is losing power and control.
In 2016, there were 39,056 new PFA cases filed in Pennsylvania, 3,765 in Allegheny County, and hundreds more in the 5 surrounding counties.
PFAs protect people every single day.
Victims advocate Michelle protection firsthand, but admits there's room for improvement.
I like the idea of GPS monitoring. In the right framework, it can truly add to our ability to offer safety to victims.
GPS monitoring would alert the victim if the defendant is coming near them.
If that person has that ankle bracelet on, then that's something that you can see where he's at, where he's been.
It could also make things safer for police.
Because they're the most dangerous calls an officer can go on.
We've seen officers killed responding to PFA violations. Just last year, Canonsburg police officer Scott Basham and state trooper Landon Weaver were shot to death in 2 separate incidents.
Someone thinks that their world's collapsing, and they oftentimes take very lethal, dangerous measures, not only towards victims, but also the police.
In addition to GPS monitoring, what about requiring law enforcement to serve all PFAs? Right now, the way the law is written, a victim could have to serve their own.
I would shudder to think that a victim had to serve their own PFA.
I think there should be mandated by either police officers or sheriffs. Possibly even constables serving them.
Sheriff Bill Mullen also believes the 24-hour window defendants have to surrender their firearms should be tightened.
I think if you just show up at the door polite but firm and show them the order that the firearms must be confiscated.
I would like to see some provision where it was almost immediate.
Right now, the law allows defendants to surrender their firearms to a third-party safekeeper, which could make it easier for them to illegally take them back. One solution may be having law enforcement serve the PFA and confiscate any weapons at the same time.
There's no perfect way on this. You know, we can sit and debate and consult with other people, but every situation is different.
Is the system perfect? No.
We need to keep working on this.
But the great majority of people are safer when they have a PFA.
In addition, Allegheny County is also the only county in our state to have a specialized court for repeat batterers. And the Pittsburgh Police Bureau is the largest in our state to do lethality assessments for domestic violence cases.
Wow. So under the current law, you said that victims really could be asked to serve their own PFAs?
That is correct, Christine. Wow. The law is vague. It doesn't specify. So technically, yes, a victim could theoretically have to serve their own. Thankfully, with the folks I spoke to, they're saying that's not a problem here, that law enforcement has really been on top of it in serving them, but the statute doesn't mandate it, so perhaps that's something that should be done.
And GPS monitoring, is that available in other states? Is it something we could get in Pennsylvania?
Yes, Ken, it is available in other states. As a matter of fact, in High Point, North Carolina, where I worked before joining the KDKA team, they did it there, and they did it pre-trial monitoring for violent offenders. So not just domestic violence cases, but also anyone who possibly could be a threat to the alleged victim or society. That was part of their pretrial monitoring, and it's working very well there. So yes, this could be something we could see happen very soon.
It would have to be a state law.
Correct. Correct. The statute would have to be rewritten. Exactly.
Well, there's so much to this, and of course you're an attorney as well, so you're going to be answering questions this afternoon?
Yes, Christine. As a matter of fact, after I leave both of you here in the studio, I'm going to head to Facebook Live and do a question and answer session. So if any of you have questions at home, I would be happy to answer them as best I can.
Excellent.
Thank you,
KDKA
Julie.
Facebook, thank you.